Stan, here we are in the man cave, still on Stan, on a Saturday afternoon. Let the light down, we don't need any light on, still on Stan's face. Right, so I'm going to try and do an ordinary life video. I might put on my favourite piece of headwear for such occasions. No one wants to see my great big stupid angular baldy head. I do have a thing for the old engineering beret, Royal Engineers, but I have to say I don't know how long I'll keep this on, simply because whilst it does look nappy, I never served in the military, so I'm not trying to impersonate one, but I'm in my own little man cave, and respect to anyone who's served in the armed forces. It's 30 degrees in here, and we've just been taking my old uncle out as we have to on a weekend. Yeah, very, very, very warm on what will probably be the last real bit of summer weather we're going to get anyway. So, ordinary life. I probably will swear in this video. This video was okay. I know my ordinary life videos don't get as much viewings as my military stuff because people come here for the military. It's probably doing it for my own memories, I suppose, and also to tell people what life was like being a tradesperson years ago and up to the modern day. Some of it's really fun and interesting where I've travelled, the rest of it's just banal crap. I'm going to attempt today to get from the back end of August 1990 to December 1991. We'll see how we go. These things have a habit of rolling on. So I'll try, my life experiences, I'll try and keep, well, I'll have to try and keep, obviously, to make sure I don't upset anybody or insult anybody, so I'll try to not to do that. We've probably all seen or experienced things in life where maybe you couldn't mention it in a mixed forum like YouTube, so if I feel like it's necessary, I'll try and do it in the correct manner. And again, if anyone feels like I shouldn't have said it in a certain way, feel free to tell me, and I'll take the video down and try it again some other time. So, my last video, which was a month ago, I'd just been to America for the better part of a month. One of the guys, oh cheers, Jim Timber. One of the guys I went with, both the other guys live in Australia now, and I live there as well myself. He's come back over to the UK with his family for a trip in October. So I'll probably have to, I will meet up with him. Find out how long we were there for. It wasn't 2 weeks and it wasn't 4 weeks. So probably 3 weeks. The better part of a month, we travelled. And my father, he should have been like in some sort of Monty Python sketch, really that type of miserable old bastard. That's what he is still, and he was a welder when he was working. He was actually sat here with me last night. Very rarely comes to my house because he lives miles away. Actually, if I fired my really crappy air pistol out of the loft window, I'd probably hit his roof in his house. That's how far away he lives from me. He lives there, up there. Never comes down here. Because that's the way he is, a miserable old curmudgeon. And he's definitely the type of person where, and I'm not doing this, I'd say it to his face, he's not, when someone passes away, say he lit up a room or she was the light of people's lives. He's the opposite. He's like black light. You walk in a room, you feel depressed talking to him. He said last night, didn't he? I'm making a comeback, I'm going to go back to work. He's 75. But anyway, throughout my life, I've travelled hither and thither. I'm not someone who's travelled a lot, an ordinary life. But sometimes, even if you're somebody who works in an unskilled job, and you scrape together your savings, and just for once or twice in your life you have that trip of a lifetime. For you, it might be going to Benidorm. There's nothing wrong with that. It might just be something that you've always wanted to do. You go and do it. You live in the dream, in inverted commas, for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, and you come back. And you're still on a high. And you get back to your northeast town or your town in the northwest, and you realise, shit, this is it. Probably. For most of us it is. And you go on a bit of a downer. So I've experienced that in my travelling. And a lot of the time, my dad has been the one who picked me up at the airport. Oh, fucking hell, man. He said, right there, you're on a high. You quickly brought down to I came back from America and I brought him a bottle of wild turkey. The really fancy American whiskey. That was his thing. He liked that sort of stuff. And he sat there in the house with his flat cap on, surrounded by boxer dogs, and my two little sisters rolling around on the floor. There were only 2 at the time. And I looked back and I was thinking, flat cap on, He was only 42 then. I'm 54. Or I've got a berry on. Flat cap. He sat there, opened his whiskey. Very nice. Yeah, we had a great time with it. There's no work round here, you know. You haven't got a job. You think, fucking hell, man, I tell you, Jesus Christ, it's like, I've been to Australia 3 times. Twice he's picked me up at the airport from Australia. And the last time, I'd been out there 3 years. And I did come back once for a family celebration, but I didn't see much of him because he was working. He was working away from home, might be. But the last time I came back after nearly 3 years in Australia, he picked me up at Manchester Airport in his work clothes, and we live about 120 miles away from Manchester or something. I don't know how far it is. It's on the other side of the country. In his work clothes, didn't even put a night's holder in. Just came straight from night shift. Me and the wife get off the aeroplane. One of my sisters has stood there crying because we were back. And he just went to me, give me a sort of limp, dead fish handshake, and went, I don't know why you bothered coming back. There's no work round here, you know. What are you going to do? And I'm thinking, I've just got off a 30-hour flight, whatever it is, you know, from leaving where I was living in Australia, get back here, 30 hours. I hadn't really thought about it yet, to be honest. Give me a week, at least. Give me at least to get in the car. That's what my dad's like. I'm panning it out of here. So I came back from America. And I didn't have a job, but I had a few bits of money in the bank. And I was 21, so I didn't care. And one of the guys I went with, the 2 guys I went with, one had the job anyway. He went back to his job. The other lad, he was the same boat as me, being made redundant, contractual job. And he picked up something with the Teesside Development Corporation, fabricating welding for a contractor. So that was him away with it, and I just didn't get a job. And not that I didn't want to, but one thing my dad did say to me when I was younger was, if you get a chance of a job, don't knock it back when you're not working. And yeah, to an extent that's true. I've been back about a week, and hang on a minute, I'll take this off. Jeez, I'm sweating. Wouldn't have lasted long in the tropics. It's on the floor. Don't let it fall on the floor. My favourite beret covered in cat fur. I got a phone call off a local firm to do some shutdown work, and I knocked it back. I couldn't be bothered. It's too bloody warm, you know. I can't doing that. And then I got an invite to go to a job in Holland. I had to go for the interview in Hull. And I was going to go to the interview, and I just thought, I'm not driving 100 miles. Again, remember, I was living with my parents. I had a bit of money in the bank. And I used to get the strange thing is, I used to get a postcard off this firm every year after this, for some reason. This Dutch firm, I don't know why, but I also had the chance to go to South Africa. Then they were at a shipyard, I got invited there. I don't know how that one turned out. I don't know why that came my way. And I didn't, I had a lot of trouble in South Africa, obviously, you know the history of that place. That I didn't fancy that idea at all. And one job I did go for, the interview at the job centre, was a shutdown for one of the big shutdown companies in Fawley in Southampton. I got offered the job, and then nothing happened, like for ages. And in the end I rang them up and said, oh, the job's been cancelled. And I know loads of blokes who lined up to go there, and for some reason they just cancelled at the last minute. So after a few weeks I ended up realising I was on the Dole for the first time in my life. Now, I know a lot of people, you know, through Ruby, I know a lot of people, obviously, that never been out of work, never had a day out of work in my life. That's something to be proud of. It's something to be, also a bit of luck, depending on what line of work you're in. I mean, I know my first time out of work, I was, you know, going on the local town thinking, people are looking at me because they know that I haven't got a job, I'm a scumbag. You know, that's, you know, probably something that's changed over the years, as has the Dole office. I mean, I went down there for the first time. It's a different building now, but at the time it was like very much like you'd see in the show Bread, like a communist grey plastic stinker, like a really smell, like a really, I can't describe the smell unless you're a certain age of me, as I am, an officey sort of plastic smell. I can't quite describe it. And I went in, and I had the interview with the job centre. And there was the woman behind the counter was like Margaret Rutherford out of Murder at the Gallop, you know, like a tweed twin set. And she went, over the top of horn-rimmed glasses. We'll have you sorted out before you know it. We'll get you a job. Blah, blah, blah. And she was going on. Anyway, by the time I'd spoken to her, she basically said, people like you get work anywhere, no dramas. In those days, you used to have to go twice a week. You signed your name, and that you were looking for work. And I'm not going to go on here, and I have got some horror stories of the Dole Centre, my experiences over the years, and this is just my opinion, and probably you got to remember when people come out of work, it's not a nice thing. Even if you like my line of work, it happens more than it does if you're a permanent employee somewhere. It isn't nice, and don't say, this is one of those ones where if I say the wrong thing, I don't want to upset anyone who works in the job centre. It's just sometimes their bedside manner, if you like, is a little bit wanton. My opinion is, if you've got a work history, and you've got a work history with your national insurance number, you can look at my work in life and go, okay, there's still on Stan. He's worked from the age of 16 when he was an apprentice. He's in a line of work which often has 6 weeks of earning a lot of money, then no work for 3 or 4 weeks. He's paying for himself. But your national insurance is there as well as it's like an unemployment benefit to help you get a job. So my opinion, this is my opinion, would be for people like me, you should look at your whole history if you're going to be scrutinised, which you could be nowadays, and go, well, this bloke's never going to be able to work for long, and we want him back in the system paying. So why not just have an interview, fair enough, and give it his benefits one after the other, rather than have to go down there and be humiliated. Because there's a lot of people out there who don't work, who've been out of work for years and years and years. That's just my personal opinion. That's how I see things. So I sort of did probably fall in that thing of not having, knocking a job back and not having one. And 2 little sisters there. I have a sister 2 years younger than me, and the twins who were little. And I sort of just looked after them for a while. It was all right actually. It wasn't bad. Babysitting, feeding them. Didn't change nappies. Helped a bit. I just said to my mum, "What changing nappies?" I couldn't. No, I didn't want to. Anyway, yeah, the old uncle who we look after lives in Manor Street now, Farber Street. Me and my wife got him sorted. Well, he at the time lived down in down south, Newark. I don't know what county that's in. But I wasn't doing that. So I only come down for the weekend, and we went to the Farber Airshow. I think I did show you years ago the brochure I had of the Farber Airshow, and it was quite an eye opener. The aircraft and everything, but the businessmen, of all colours and creeds, in suits, looking at the latest machine gun, and it did make me think, and still does to this day. This business, all this stuff that people like me and you collect, ideology, money, what drives war. I don't know, but there was a lot of people from lots of different countries drinking champagne in the hospitality tent, looking at the Vulcan cannon. That's what I remember. It was on a stand. It was spinning around and going all this business, and yeah, get a lot of attention. That was. So we went there, and on the way back we stayed in London for the night. I know this isn't about my working life, but it is relevant. I was out at work, and we went down to the river. There's a paddle steamer. There's 3 paddle steamers that were Humber ferries. Now my uncle ended up living in Humberside, so he's quite interested in these ferries. One of them's a restaurant in London. Excuse me, I'm not sure which one it is. It's the something castle. Is it the Lambton Castle? Can't remember. There's one of them down there. We had a look at that. Walked across the river, and I was quite surprised. London on a Saturday night, then in 1990, the pubs weren't really that full, not in the area we were. And we came over to the embankment. It was dark, but it was only about 8 o'clock at night. And again, someone who might live in London goes, you might say to me, you're talking crap, but this is, again, my experience. He said, we'll go down this subway. And I said, oh. And then a subway, not in the American way, like an underground passage. And I said, oh, we don't want to be going down there. He went, oh, I've been down here before. I was down here. Yeah, I've been down here before, it's all right. So he goes underneath, instant cardboard city. I always remember there was a bloke with a little dog tied to a bit of string, like cardboard city underneath. And I had the Farber Airshow brochure in my back pocket. And this girl started walking towards me with like a punk boyfriend, the Mohican. She went, give us your magazine, will you? I went, oh no, I'm keeping that. She went, fuck you then. I thought, oh. But all the Londoners, and I do remember a bowler hatted gent with an umbrella strolling through, weren't looking quite what he was doing on a Saturday night. But true, they weren't looking either side. We were looking either side because I'd never seen anything like that before, certainly on the UK. We managed to get through the other side. And I said to him, bloody hell, I said, when was the last time you were down there? He went, oh, I don't know, about August 1971. So yeah, that's why. So yeah, I did that. And then I was tooling around for work, and my mate who was on the local job, he said, "Oh, the guy's looking for somebody else, but it's not for around here. It's for Cheltenham." And I said, "All right." He wants you to come for an interview. So I went to this pub, and remember Margaret Thatcher's Walk in the Wilderness, where she's walked along the construction site? It was there, but the pub was earmarked for this demolition, but it was still functioning as a pub for the contractor. So it's quite strange going in that pub. The only time I've ever been in there, you could tell it was going to get knocked down, but it was still serving beer. Obviously not immediately it was getting knocked down, but I went in there. He said, "Look, I want a fabricator, a plater, to go down to this boiler shop in Cheltenham. Do you fancy doing it?" "Yeah, okay, there's the address. Be there Monday morning." Or Sunday afternoon I had to go down. So I had to... all the accommodation was sorted out. Now I went down, and there was a fella on the job who I sort of knew. His trade was a Corker, which is, I won't go into what that is. It's a bit more low skill. There is a lot more low skill than a welder or player, but it is a trade. It was a trade in its own right. They used to cork copper. I think it was copper in between the rivets, the big pneumatic guns, so tick, 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 and then they became chippers and grinders. So it's a lot of the sort of really repetitive work. Doesn't do anything for your health, I'll tell you that. I don't think some of the tank erection jobs, yeah, they do, yeah, because I've just worked with some not long ago, they do exist, but less so. And this guy was a friend of my dad's, and I got to the digs in Cheltenham, drove down, and so I'd worked away from home before. I wouldn't say it didn't bother me. Probably an inconvenience because I didn't want to go to Cheltenham for it. It's not as if I'm going to see something fantastically new. Although it was a nice place. It was. I'll certainly say that. And I got to the door, and my dad has a distinctive nickname. I won't say what it is, but it's something along the lines of Sid. So it's a short one. And I really hate being called young Sid. You understand what I'm saying? I want nothing to do with me and Dad, apart from being his son. I'm not young anybody. I'm me myself. On the door, "Young Sid, please knock next door." So my dad's mate knocked on the door. "Oh, she's away. You have to stay with us tonight." So I won't say his name, but he had a liking for this. Like a real liking for it, like a real liking for it, not like a casual one like me. And we sat in the house, and he said, I said, "Oh, is there any pubs nearby?" He went, "Oh, you're going for a pint?" I said, "Oh, yeah, do you want to go for a pint?" Thingy-me-jig. He went, "No, I'm off it, don't drink anymore." I went, "Oh, all right, fair enough then. But if you want a pint, go." He said, "I'll tell you what, I'll come down with you." So we were out for 2 hours, he had about 9 pints. He'd stopped drinking my left foot. Bloody hell. So anyway, I got on the job, and it was a lot of stuff that I hadn't done, like boilers, making boilers. It's quite complicated because if you imagine you've got you can. And this is 20 foot high, 5 foot wide in all imperial measurements, and you've got branches coming off it and pipe work. It's very intricate stuff. I haven't done a lot of that. I hadn't done a lot of it then. I haven't since really, but it's intricate work, and it was quite challenging for me. But I was willing to learn, and the gaffer was a local bloke, and he was a rugby fella as well, and I thought I got on with him all right. Then he set one of the jobs up once. He said, "Take all that off there, grind that down there," and I did. And he then turned around and told me I was wrong and I ground the wrong bit off, even though he'd marked it. And then he said to me, "Oh, you need to," this was going on for weeks. I was working 7 days a week. "You need to do this for night shift." He didn't say what level I had to get to for the night shift job. I had to do X, Y, and Z on 4 night shift, but I finished at say 7 o'clock, 12-hour shifts. So I got to a certain point, 7 o'clock, went home, come in the next morning, and it was foaming at the mouth. "I told you to get to that level yesterday." I said, "No, you didn't." He said, "Just carry on with that, right? If you can work the rest of the day, mate, you're finished." And I was working for an agent, not an agency as such, because that wasn't really a thing then, not in my line of work. I was working for the agent. So I just went, "Yeah, fair enough." And I was, 21-year-old, you finding your feet in the world. I was buggered off with it. So I went and got my tool bag, and I thought, something's going to go now. I was going to sod off now. So I did sod it off, threw my kit bag in the thing, and went. And I got home, been home a day, and I thought, I'll ring the agent just to tell him, "Look, this is what happened. I'm sorry I wasted your time," etc., etc. So I rang him up, and he said, "Has he sacked another plater?" I went, "Oh, well, yeah, it was me." And he went, "I'm sorry about that." He said, "I've sent loads of lads down there of different capabilities, older than you. He just doesn't want tradesmen from outside the area working in his factory. He said, so I'm sorry, he said, I'm not sending anyone else down there. He said, I've kept a couple of welders there, and this lad was Corker burner. He said, for some reason he keeps getting rid of platers. He said, I'm sorry, so I tried it, and I thought, oh, I said, fair enough, okay. He said, have you got a job? I went, no, I've got nothing. He went, right, Monday morning, come and work for me at Cheltenham Sewage Works. I'm thinking, so I goes up there in me Capri, and it was a sewage farm, and what they were doing was converting, they were linking up, I can't remember if they were linking up to the old one was getting decommissioned, but there was a lot of putting pumps in and stuff, and this and that. The young lads who lived next door to me, they were keen amateur mechanics, and they used to do a car washing service. So my car would be going through this mud. It was like the Somme battlefield, honestly, inches deep. It's just mud. It wasn't sewage, but it was mud. And I remember one day they were washing my car, and my dad, in his usual tactful way, leaned over the fence and went, "Hey, do you know where he works?" "Huh? Fucking sewage farm." Yeah. I had to explain to them this was just mud. But I did get on the sewage farm, and had the pleasure of a dumper truck driver drove over the top of my toolbox and smashed it into 100 pieces. Came out the cabin, and there's me bits of my toolbox everywhere. The firm did replace it, and I was thinking, I didn't see it. It's up by the side of the road. The funniest thing I saw on this job was they had a cess pit, and it was a brick wall that was up to a level, so the land went like that. So this brick wall was the only exposed bit. The rest was built into the hill, and it had a valve coming off it. And they brought in one of those, they call it a British whale, big pumping machine, suck. They use them for drains in streets, sucking the stuff out. And they couldn't get the valve to work. They couldn't free it off, or the sucking end of the tube wouldn't mate up with the valve. So what they said was to this one of the labourers, they said, get a sledgehammer, punch a hole through the wall of the sledgehammer, because this stuff was full of, I suppose you wouldn't call it sewage, silage, like hundreds of years probably worth of crap, like rotted away, just not very nice stuff, however old it was. Knock the hole through there, we'll put the holes in, suck it out, it can be demolished, easy. And I don't know why me and my mate, it was me and a welder there, we were just stood watching it all going on. So this bloke, dish. One brick came out, and the gaffer went, another bigger hole. He hit it again, and the wall just collapsed. And this bloke, the road was like that. He got took away in a tidal wave of shit. He was spinning around on his back, and I can picture his face now. He was actually laughing, like, probably because he didn't realise what it was, and the smell was unbelievable. Yeah, anyway, so I mean that's probably, there's not too much more to that little. I'll probably finish it up now because it's 23 minutes. You can listen to me talking for ages about things that's just my life. I've already had a couple of pints, can you tell? Shouldn't. Anyway, this takes me to Christmas 1990, and the odd thing was, my dad again, people often used to say, a bloke who'd work a minute's silence, if you get me drift, like my dad would do that. He'd always just say, well, I had 2 kids later in life. Yeah, you did. But he was like that anyway. He was like that before they came along. He actually likes going to work. He liked going to work. I've worked with him loads. Misery guts. You see him work, different bloke there. But he used to put holidays in at work and go and work somewhere else. I'm not joking. And he actually, I can't remember how it worked out, but in between sort of 1990, Christmas, New Year to 91, he had a job at Darlington Rolling Mills, him and his mate, doing this fabrication. And when it came to a certain period, it definitely was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they couldn't do it. And I'm suspecting in the back of my mind, my dad was on holiday from his normal job. He was doing this job, but he had another shutdown job to go on. So to keep that job open so he could go drop back out on Monday while he was on holiday, he asked me and my mate, because we were on holiday, to drop in and do it. And I did. Nowadays, if I was 10 years old, I'd have gone, oh, you greedy old git. What the hell? And I did a 12-hour shift. There was a 16-hour shift, a 14-hour shift, and a 12-hour shift. Yeah, and it was all supposed to be tax-free, and it wasn't. So there you go. I got ripped off. So yeah, that was, and I think the place is still open now, probably, but maybe it isn't. I can't remember. But yeah, that was that's taken me to Christmas 1990 of an ordinary life. Probably not as entertaining as some of them, but 1991. What happens in 91? Well, a bit of hanging around in the UK and the rig yards and stuff, and then I go to Australia. So that'll be the next one, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that. I'll try and keep them as short as this. It's just hard. My ordinary life will probably take it'll probably take 40 years to do. So this is Stan. I'm going to go and watch some rugby, and I will see you